All right, so I'm doing this video. Scaler just got an update. Actually, it said today, so this is kind of cool. What they added a bunch of stuff, but I'm only going to touch on a few of the things I like so far. One thing is they added some more lo-fi chords. That's a hot thing right now, and you know, lo-fi uses like typically sometimes 2 chords, sometimes like 3 chords in a lot of their stuff. And if you notice, they're using, and this one, if you can see here, let me see how close this is. I'm not going to zoom in because I'm using the phone. This is the tablet, but it is what it is. So this is the 1 chord. This is I think this is a 7 chord, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 7 chord. You know what? That's a 6 chord, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's a 6 chord. No, it's a 7 chord. Okay, I'm tripping. It's a 7 chord. They're using a 1 chord, 7 chord, I believe, and then a 2 chord. So it's little things like that. This is just one. There's what, 15 in there? There, we'll touch it. 15 going here, 14. So I think when they started, they only had like, I forgot which one I was on. I think I'm on 11. Okay. They only had like maybe, they added like on the previous update, I think it was, I want to say about 7 or 9 or something like that. I can't remember the number. It's a weird number. 7 or 9, whatever, lo-fi chords, which I thought were kind of cool. And then they added in 3. So, but then they added in this, because usually I don't use the instruments in here. I use this as a controller, which I'm still doing it that way. But I was like, oh, I want to use the instrument sometimes because I think it's kind of fun. So, you know, in the piano, there's the felt piano. That's probably one of the better ones of the sounds they have in here. But the other one they added that I really like is the, in the synth. That's today they added this lo-fi. So I know you can't see it, but it's in here. If you go in the synth section of them, there's a lo-fi. And this is kind of what it sounds like. You'll hear it's kind of grainy. I think it's a solid sound to use. And I basically used it right now on a beat. I'm going to show you in just a second. Just something small that I did. I haven't even finished. I just started on it. Thought I would share it. So this is kind of cool. Like, you can see that it doesn't take many chords to figure out how to make a song. So just those chords can be the whole thing with a lo-fi, because it's more about a mood setting type of thing. So I did a little, let me go out here. Oh, by the way, you can do this in Koala too. So you don't have to have an SP404 to do it, but I'm just showing you on the SP404 because I like to use it. But in Koala, you know, when you stack drums, you're just put them on top of each other, so you make a copy. When the SP404, you hit Shift and pad number 7, and you can link 2 pads. So you can either resample, or you can like just leave them link and play them that way. So I linked a snare and kind of a clap, but it sort of sounds like another snare. And then I got a couple hats. Oh, sorry you're hearing that. That's the extra noise you're hearing is from the sound. So I'm going to turn that off so you can hear this. Right? Pick some like kind of jazz-tronic. I think these samples came from Splice. So they're like jazz-tronic 2 or whatever drums. When I was using Splice, I had like a couple packs I kept that I would use often, and this is just one of them that I would pull from. So okay, so I made a drum pattern, which was a 2-bar, turned into a 4-bar. So I'm not like obviously the best drummer, but when I'm doing lo-fi stuff, I tend to keep the drums somewhat simple. This is probably more intricate than what it should be, but somewhat simple. Then I went into the pattern mode, copied that over here, and then what I like to do is do resample in pattern mode. Now, resample in pattern mode, if you hit the recording settings and turn it to external, it'll record whatever you bring in through the external source. So what I did was I hooked the iPad up, and that's where this came in. I hooked the iPad up. this is only Scaler open by itself. I always have humanization on, and then I just went to the Lofi chords, picked the 3 chords I want, and that's it. And then, if you notice, you're hearing it come through here. So I could add an effect into here if I wanted to and record it with that, but I didn't. It's just what it sounds like straight into here through the USB-C, right? So then I played my little pattern and put it together. And I'm gonna fix that because right now it's kind of low. So I'm gonna go record the same one, click it. I have it on TRX. That's how I, insert it after I've recorded it. So give me 1 second to turn the volume up on this. Okay. I'm gonna turn this up to about 60 maybe. And we're gonna double check, just make sure it sounds good. So I want it a little louder. I'm gonna go 70. That should be good. So, okay, so the reason why this is not working, and I already know, I'm gonna fix it real quick. I said this in the previous video that if you do this and you record in, sometimes it'll record in kind of low. See, the volume is really low. So I'm gonna normalize that first. Exit here, stop it, go back to pattern select. And what I'm gonna do is you gotta re-put it in, right? So I'm gonna hit record, tap that pattern, remain is on, hit record again. I'm gonna put this, because the chords are kind of low like that, I'm gonna put it at 80. All right, so here's shit. I'm gonna go 90 actually. Just because these chords are really low. There we go. So it depends on what you're doing. Sometimes, like if I'm recording with the OP1 or if I'm recording with some other instrument, it might be a stronger sounding instrument. So I need to keep it low, the volume. But this one is cool. So anyway, I used the Lofi, I did that. Keep the external source on when you want to record. You can turn it off when you don't want to record. Okay. And that's what I wanted to show you, is just how, let's say if you didn't have this, obviously you would be using the iPhone maybe to record in. You could use tonality, which is one of my favorites. I might do a video soon on tonality with the SP, because I think it'll be cool to show you how I can create even the chords with that, just using that. What's cool is, as long as you got this humanize on, by the way, I like to set it on velocity, timing, both. Instead of doing velocity or timing, do both. And the reason why is because it'll sound more like you play. It'll give you, some mistakes in there so that it doesn't sound so perfect, if you know what I mean. The key lock, I only turn that on if I'm going to jam out to something and do it. So, yeah. So let's say I wanted to put a melody in. Well, you can see here that the key is outlined what it's in. So it's in a harmonic major scale of G. So all I'd have to do is go key lock, and the only notes that's going to play now are the notes that are unlocked, which is the blue, the stuff with blue on it. So if I go my hands here, you can hear it. Here you go. So or if you don't want that sound, because maybe you want something that sounds a little different, maybe you want to go grab the piano and use a vintage maybe. You want to move up the piano, you can hit here and then you can either zoom out or just go down. Let's see, display an octave lower. Yeah, there we go. Use your display octave portion there. I don't know what I just pressed, but I just wrong. Okay. So I'm literally using the iPad, this, and the sounds in Scaler with this on into here. So I'm gonna record that just to show you how I kind of do it. I've already talked you through it. Now I'm just gonna show you. So basically, as I go, I'm going to leave on external source. I'm gonna make a copy, right? So that way, if you mess up, you have this here to fall back on. I'm gonna go to resample, and now it's gonna ask me on the regular page, which spot do you, or which pad do you want to put this on? You can see down here the ones that's not blinking or taken. So here's the key, the chords, here's the drums. So I'm gonna put it on 2. And now it's telling me to press. I have it set to wait instead of a count in. And the reason is I can time it when I want to start the first note. So once I hit the pad, I gotta start playing, and I gotta play through at least once, and then I'm gonna play the first note again. So I'm gonna try to do this. It's a timing thing, but it's okay. Watch. Okay, hit record. That's good enough for me. I'm gonna go into it now and look at it. So I have to remember to turn off the vintage keys now. Otherwise it'll play, because this SP acts as a MIDI controller, as a interface, all of that. So it'll mess up sometimes if you do that. Okay, so I know where it's supposed to be. So the trick is, here's the end, right? I know about it there is where I want it to end. This is easier on chords than it is on a melody, unless your melody is really extra simple. And the cool feature is the roll button will let you hear what's at the end. So I'm gonna zoom in and make sure that I have that. See, it's not accurately there, so we're gonna do it there, okay? Turn the gate off. I'm gonna turn loop on and see how it loops. So I'm gonna do that, and now I'm gonna hit roll. Went back to the start. There you can see it. So that sounds like a good loop to me. I'm gonna hit truncate. And now I either do one or two things. I either keep it the same volume, or I go ahead and bump the volume up by normalizing. The bad part about normalizing is you can't go backwards on it. As far as I know, you can't. It may be a way you could shift undo it. I don't know, but at least you can adjust the volume down. So sometimes what I'll do is if I'm not unsure whether I want to do that or not, I'll go ahead and test it, right? So the way we test is go back to pattern mode, go into here. This is the one. We're gonna hit record, select pattern 3. We're gonna leave it on TREC and hit return. And then we're gonna hold sub down and select the one. Okay. Now I'm gonna put it in, because we're just step sequencing. So I'm gonna just put it in here. So I have it at 90 velocity. I'm gonna actually set it at 80 velocity, and I'm gonna put it back in. So I want it to be at 80. You gotta take the loop off too, by the way. I totally forgot that. I'm actually gonna do 70. I like that. So I'm just using my ears to figure out what velocity I wanna. Cool, so now that pattern's done. So if I ever wanna take it out of that pattern, pretty simple, you just go pattern edit, right? Select the pattern, and then you hit, I believe it's shift. No, it's delete, I'm sorry. Hit delete, and then you can pick which part you wanna take out of that pattern, right? So if I wanna take that part out, then I hit the 2. I'm not gonna take it out for right now. But that's also why I build this way. right? Where I have the drums, then I stagger it with this. I can always go back if I just wanted parts. Let me exit out of there. I could always go back here. You wouldn't have the drums here, but you have the other two parts if you need those separated. And you can use the mute option to do that. So it's pretty simple. So started with the beat. Added in some chords to that. They'll start at the 4th bar. Okay, then I'll trigger this one, and this will start with this one right here with the melody. I just triggered this one real quick to go back to the chords. So now you could add your bass line and whatever else you want to do. So if you think about it, I'm building in one bank. I'm on bank C. I'm building in bank C. I have my drums on these bottom, which you don't have to have this many drums. You could only, and then I'm making these basically become tracks, right? They're like parts of the song. And then I'm going into the pattern sequences and putting them in the song parts where I want them to be. The other option is obviously do this, hit reverse, or go back in here, hit reverse, and you can mute it. So there you have it. So that's kind of my way to record with the SP404. I know it seems like a lot. If you have one and you practice with it, it's the same workflow. For me, it's the same workflow that I used in Koala. That's how I recorded in Koala. The only difference was I had AUM as a mixer, and Koala is obviously all of it's visible to your eyes that you're seeing. But everything's visible in here too, really, when you think about it. Because you, except for your pattern, as far as I know, but you can pull up each one of these parts, so the drums, the kicks, and change them. But anyway, it's not necessary. If you want to do it here, open up Koala. And the cool thing about this too, here, I'll show you this too, is Koala opens as a slide over. So you could, in theory, use Koala as a slide over with Scaler and do it this way. I'm not going to sit there and tell you how right now because I would have to sit there and practice myself. I don't really do it that way at all anymore. I pretty much use Scaler. I have Scaler in the computer for Ableton, and then I use Scaler like this for the iPad or with the OP1, which is right over there, the OP1 field. And because the OP1 field has Bluetooth, I'll Bluetooth in the chords sometimes and record through here to the SP or through here to the MPC, depending on what I'm doing. But this whole purpose was just to show you how you could do the SP, you could use the iPad and use Koala if you want to create cool songs with Scaler. And because Scaler has sounds in it now, that makes it even easier. And they have, if I remember right, they have a bass in here. Yep, they have 808 bass. They've added a bass guitar. I really can't, there's a jazz bass. I'm not sure how they sound. Let's check it out. Let's just do bass guitar. Oh, you know what? There we go. I'll have to move these chords back. Let's go back, display octave this way. There we go. All right, so I had to get back to the octave. Same principle. So you know your chords are G, F sharp, A minor, which is just pretty much a G, F sharp, and A, right? So then all you have to do is play those notes with it. So I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna record it. I'm just gonna play it so you can hear it. I got a bad, nasty hum, and I'm not sure where it's coming from. Let's see. But it's definitely there. I can hear it through the speakers, and it might be Scaler. It might be, it's probably not Scaler. It's probably this SP doing that. Let me see. it's not that. I'll have to figure out that later why it's doing that. But let's just show you what I'm talking about. Let's go back into the pattern, and we're going to record those notes. So G, I keep pressing the wrong one. G, right? So that's kind of simple. That's not exactly how I would do it, but it's available to you, right? It's an okay sound. It's nothing special about that to me. Yeah, that sounds awful. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be honest, but I was. Let's see what the 808 sounds like. I'm not an 808 guy that uses it a lot, but I'm sure if somebody heard that 808 that uses 808s, they'd probably be like, no, it don't sound that great. So I'm not gonna say it's terrible, but because that would be wrong for me to say it's terrible, because it's okay. But I wouldn't use those sounds. I would use the felt piano. Is actually really nice in here, and the vintage keys is okay. That could be a great lo-fi sound if that's what if you want to make lo-fi music. Let's see the soft. It's okay too. So the pianos sound pretty decent. And the synth, that one synth I like. Let's see what this one. Okay. Maybe for the right music that could work. Let's see what these strings. Okay. Not swam. Instrument good, but it's okay. All right, so anyway, you get the point. You can use the instruments in here if you have Scaler. And if you know how to use Scaler, I think I've done enough videos on Scaler now where you should be able to pretty much figure out how to use Scaler. It's not super, super hard. I don't use all the features in it. There is a mod feature that allows you to create a bridge that goes to help you switch to keys. I think I've shown it in a video, but it's not something I use all the time, especially if I'm doing a simple song, like a lo-fi song. I'm not going to be doing all that. I just wouldn't. I probably would have more chords and just build a set pattern that I'm going to use for it. But anyway, this is a great option if you have an SP, and if you have Koala and you want to figure out how to get chords in. This is a great option too to use these sounds, because they're not terrible. The pianos is not bad. You could actually use those for sure and make some cool sounds. All right, I am out. I've probably been on this video way longer than what I was expecting, and it is true. But I just wanted to show you the Scaler SP workflow. Yeah, so that's it. All right.